Inside the stomach of a single sperm whale, scientists found 18,000 beaks. Each one belonged to a squid. Some of those squids stretched over 40 feet long, armed with rotating hooks and razor-lined suckers. The same creature sailors once called the kraken. You could call this whale the kraken assassin. When it hunts, it produces a sound loud enough to vibrate human tissue apart, fired into pitch darkness a mile below the last trace of sunlight. Nothing down there hides from it. Nothing down there fights it and wins. This is the full story of the sperm whale, how it hunts, how it survives where nothing else can, and why the entire ocean has been afraid of it for 20 million years. Most people hear the word whale and picture something gentle, a slow, filter-feeding giant drifting through blue water. That image fits a blue whale. It fits a humpback. It does not fit this animal. The sperm whale is the largest active predator on the planet. A fully grown male stretches over 60 feet and weighs north of 50 tons. To put that in perspective, line up 30 mid-sized cars on a scale. The whale still outweighs them. But size is not what separates them from everything else in the ocean. Brain weight is. They carry the single largest brain of any animal that has ever existed, roughly 5 times the mass of a human brain, 6 times heavier than an orca's. Scientists are still trying to understand how they're using all of that processing power. They also move faster than anything their size should, burst speeds of nearly 20 miles per hour, which for an animal that weighs as much as 10 elephants is a staggering amount of impact energy. They occupy every ocean on Earth, from the Antarctic ice shelf to the equatorial tropics. They do not migrate to avoid predators. Nothing out there requires avoiding. Most marine mammals are locked to the top few hundred feet of the water column, the zone where light still penetrates. Go deeper, and the physics change fast. At 3,000 feet, every square inch of your body is carrying over 3,000 pounds of pressure. Your lungs would be crushed flat in seconds. Nitrogen would dissolve into your blood and destroy your nervous system on the way back up. For any other air-breathing animal, this depth is a death sentence. Sperm whales dive past 3,000 feet routinely. They've been recorded reaching 10,000 feet. At that depth, every military submarines require reinforced hulls to survive. Blue whales, nearly 3 times heavier, max out at roughly 1,600 feet. Any deeper, and they would die like everything else. The sperm whale solved this by redesigning its own body from the inside out. Its rib cage is flexible, built to bend inward and let the lungs collapse on purpose rather than rupture under force. Most mammals would suffocate. For the sperm whale, this is just another day at the office. But collapsed lungs mean no breathing, so they stopped relying on their lungs for oxygen storage. Instead, their blood and muscles carry it. They produce extreme concentrations of a protein called myoglobin, which locks onto oxygen molecules and holds them in place. So much myoglobin saturates their tissue that their flesh is nearly black. When they descend, their heart rate drops from 60 beats per minute to 10. Blood flow redirects exclusively to the brain and the muscles still in use. Everything else goes dormant. The whale essentially enters a controlled shutdown, running on stored fuel for over 90 minutes at a time. And the reason they bother? The deep ocean is an untouched buffet. Giant and colossal squids, some over 40 feet long, live in the abyss where no other large predator can reach them. By evolving the ability to dive 3 times deeper than any other whale, the sperm whale locked down a monopoly on one of the largest, untouched food sources in the deep ocean. Even if you survive the pressure and the oxygen deprivation, you're now entering into total darkness. At 3,000 meters, eyes are useless. The sperm whale solved this by converting its entire head into the most powerful biological sonar system ever recorded. A third of the whale's body is its head. Inside that head sits the spermaceti organ. a dense mass filled with up to a ton of specialized waxy oil. Sound originates deep in the whale's nasal passages, travels through this oil, and gets focused into a directional beam like an acoustic lens. The result is a click that registers at 230 decibels. A jet engine at full power produces about 150. 180 decibels will rupture human eardrums. 230 is enough acoustic energy to vibrate human tissue apart. It is the single loudest sound produced by any living organism ever documented. These clicks travel through the water, bounce off prey, and return to the whale carrying a three-dimensional map of exactly what is out there. Size, speed, distance, density. A squid can be perfectly still, perfectly camouflaged, invisible to any eye in the ocean. To sperm whale sonar, it is lit up like a target. And there's a theory that goes further. Some researchers believe the whale can narrow its acoustic beam and use that concentrated sound as a weapon, stunning or disorienting prey before contact. If true, they're not just locating their food, they are disabling it from a distance with focused sound energy. Nobody has ever witnessed a sperm whale fight against a squid. These encounters happen in complete darkness, thousands of feet below the surface. But the evidence is carved into every whale that surfaces. Nearly every adult sperm whale carries a constellation of circular scars across its head and body. Some of these marks span nearly a foot across, ringed with smaller cuts from the serrated edges of giant squid suckers. Others are deep gashes left by the rotating bone hooks found on colossal squid tentacles. For most marine animals, a 40-foot invertebrate armed with hooked tentacles and razor-lined suckers will be the apex threat of the deep. For the sperm whale, it is dinner. Their skin is thick enough and their mass is large enough that even a squid actively tearing at their face does not meaningfully slow them down. The numbers confirm the outcome. Scientists examining whale stomachs have recovered thousands of hard, indigestible squid beaks piled up in the gut. One individual whale was found carrying over 18,000 beaks at once. The soft tissue dissolves. The beaks remain, a biological graveyard stacked inside a living predator. The creature that inspired the kraken myth, the deep-sea horrors that sailors believed could drag entire ships under, are a prey species. The sperm whale has been feeding on them since before humans existed. The sonar serves another purpose. Sperm whales use structured sequences of clicks called codas to communicate with each other. Each one is patterned, repeated, and recognized across miles of open ocean. Different whale clans use different click patterns. Populations in the Caribbean do not produce the same codas as populations near Japan. Pods that travel together develop signature sequences, shared clicking rhythms that function like group identifiers. And the critical detail is that none of this is instinct. Calves are not born knowing their clan's codas. They learn them by listening, by mimicking, by practicing until the pattern matches. By every scientific measure, that qualifies as culture. Some researchers now believe that codas may contain syntax, structural rules that allow clicks to combine in meaningful ways, the same way words form sentences. In 2021, the Earth Species Project began using artificial intelligence to analyze thousands of hours of recorded whale clicks, searching for patterns too complex for human ears to detect. Early results suggest a level of structural complexity far beyond what has been documented in dolphins or any other marine species. Divers who have encountered sperm whales in open water describe something that stays with them. The whale approaches slowly, clicks softly, and begins scanning. It is building a three-dimensional image of the diver from the inside out. Lungs, ribs, heartbeat. Then it hovers. Sometimes it tilts its body to read the echoes from a different angle. Sometimes it circles, clicking in rhythms that sound almost controversial. These animals carry neural structures associated with empathy and complex social bonding. The same structures linked to compassion in humans. They have had them for 15 million years longer than we have. And despite centuries of industrial slaughter that drove their populations from millions to near collapse, when a lone diver enters their world unarmed and exposed, the whales do not flee. They do not attack. They come closer. They try to understand what they're looking at. We hunted them nearly to extinction for what was inside their heads. In the 1700s, the spermaceti oil packed into that massive skull became the most valuable substance in the ocean. It burned cleaner than any fuel. It lubricated factory machines. It lit entire cities. Whaling fleets from New England crossed oceans for years at a time to find them. By the mid-1800s, some regional populations had dropped to single digits. Females do not reach maturity until age 9. Pregnancies last 15 months. One calf every 5 to 7 years. Recovery on that reproductive timeline is painfully slow. Estimates suggest over 1 million sperm whales were killed before the global whaling moratorium took effect in 1986. Current estimates put the global population at roughly 700,000. Before whaling, there were nearly 2 million. They have recovered to about a third of what they were, and in some regions, they're still declining. When a pod is under threat, the adults form a defensive arrangement called the Marguerite Formation. They position themselves in a circle, heads pointed inward, tails facing out. Calves are tucked safely in the center, surrounded on all sides by a wall of 50-ton bodies. One tail strike from an adult sperm whale can kill an orca outright. Even coordinated orcapods rarely attempt it. For roughly 20 million years, the sperm whale has occupied the top of the deep ocean food chain. When a predator dominates for that long, the rest of the ecosystem bends around it. Biologists call this evolutionary memory. The fear of a specific predator becomes embedded in the behavior of everything else, not learned in a single lifetime, written into the species over geological time. Deep sea squid have evolved hooks, ink clouds, and advanced camouflage not to escape sharks. Sharks cannot reach them. These are adaptations built specifically to survive sperm whale sonar. A 20 million year arms race the squid are still losing. Researchers have detected sperm whale clicks on hydrophones over 100 miles from the source. When the sperm whale goes hunting, every animal within that radius knows it. Orcas, when they detect the rhythmic clicking of a bull sperm whale, have been recorded going completely silent, shutting down their own echolocation to avoid detection. Scientists describe this effect as an acoustic shadow. When a sperm whale begins clicking in a region of ocean, every other animal in range goes quiet, a survival calculation refined over millions of years. A single sperm whale reshapes the ocean around it in ways researchers only recently began measuring. Every dive to the abyss and every return to the surface moves nutrients across the water column. When whales surface, they bring iron from the deep and deposit it in sunlit waters where plankton feed on it. They produce roughly half the oxygen on the planet and form the foundation of every marine food chain. One whale stimulates enough plankton growth to capture as much carbon as thousands of trees. A full pod influences nutrient cycling across an entire ocean basin. These animals spend over 70% of their lives in a zone humans cannot access. We have observed them floating vertically in the water, motionless like gray pillars, sleeping upright. No one fully understands why. And even in death, the work continues. When a sperm whale dies and sinks to the seafloor, it creates what marine biologists call a whale fall. A single carcass can sustain an entire deep sea ecosystem for up to 100 years. Crabs, hagfish, bone-eating worms, deep water sharks, entire colonies of organisms that would not exist without that body settling into the silt. It is one of the most dramatic transfers of energy in the natural world. Life ending, an entire world beginning. They do not just live in the ocean. They help build it by strengthening the ecosystems around them. Every rule in the ocean says you pick a lane. Be fast or be big. Live in the light or live in the dark. Breathe air or survive the pressure. The sperm whale breaks all of them. Massive, fast, deep diving, sonar equipped, socially coordinated, and potentially speaking one of the most complex languages on the planet. For 20 million years, nothing has displaced them. In 1820, a sperm whale rammed and sank the whaling ship Essex in the middle of the Pacific. Not by accident, the whale struck twice, deliberately, and sent the crew drifting for months. That event inspired Moby Dick. It also revealed something the whaling industry did not want to acknowledge. These animals were not livestock waiting to be harvested. They were aware, they adapted, and occasionally, they fought back. Here's the part that should unsettle you. We killed over 1 million of them before we even understood what they were. And when divers finally entered their world, defenseless and alone, the whales did not attack. They turned around and tried to understand us. What do you think sperm whale codas actually contain? Are we on the edge of decoding a non-human language? Or is it something we will never fully translate? Drop your take in the comments. We have only just started listening to what happens below 3,000 meters, but something down there has been listening to everything for 20 million years. We just showed you the predator, but the creature it hunts in the dark may be even stranger. The octopus wasn't designed for this planet. That video is on screen now. If you want to be a part of the expedition to uncover what is still hiding down there, subscribe. See you in the deep.